Moving to Shannon in Georgia. Shannon in Georgia, you are on the line with Jimmy and Matt.
Hey Jimmy, hey Matt, can you hear me?
Sure do.
We hear you. How you doing?
Hello. Hey, I'm doing well, thanks. Hey Matt, I've seen several of your debates with theists and know a little bit about your background, but not a lot. So, and I just taught a little bit the last caller and a half. So I apologize if I asked any repeated questions. But so there's been like a lot of talk about truth, seems, and proof, and I think that's what we all want, right? I think we should all be is truth pursuers wherever the truth
I would
takes
hope
us.
so. You'd be surprised at
Yeah,
how many people I've talked to who actually don't care about truth.
I understand. I've come across it too, and to be honest, I used to be that way, and but I've tried to be, um, like for I just want to go where the truth leads me. So, um, like from an atheist perspective, what, uh, how do you know what is true? Like just science and the evidence is that uh, um, how you know how you make a truth claim
So
from the atheist world.
from generally speaking, I'm part of the group that has a philosophical view that truth is that which comports to reality. And so then the question becomes, how much can we actually know and understand about reality, and how accurate can we be? And the only thing that I can really point to is that the various scientific methods have demonstrated to be the most consistently reliable methods for modeling reality. Um, Everything that science doesn't tell you what is truth. Science creates a model that has some probabilistic comparison to truth. And so it's all about figuring out, evaluating the evidence to see what the facts of reality are. So like we're stuck. Like if I drop these glasses, they'll fall. I'm not going to, just because I don't want to break my glasses. But if I drop them, they're going to fall. We know that through direct experimentation and observation. Somebody could say, yeah, but you got that information from your senses, and you can't prove that you're not a brain in a vat being fed, or you're in the matrix being fed a reality. And you're right, or whoever would say that, I can't prove that I'm not in the matrix. But if I'm willing to accept that you and I share a reality, now all of a sudden I have the option of going for independent verification and confirmation of things. So yes, the short version of your question is that the facts about reality through investigation create a model of reality that is never fully accurate, but is as accurate as we can find. And if there's a God, or if there's a ghost, or the Loch Ness Monster, or leprechauns, if any of those things are real and they manifest in reality in some detectable way, then it is possible for us to investigate them through some method that attempts to remove our subjective bias and creates the most accurate model we can. And unfortunately, nobody's demonstrated how to do that for any supernatural claim. So when I say, is something true, I did a debate Friday night. And the subject was, is Christianity true? And you go back, skip forward to the 11-minute mark when I start talking, listen to my 10-minute opening there if you want to. Because what I did was I talked about different types of claims and how we would normally verify they're true.
Mhm. Okay. All right. So, um, when in hello.
Yeah, you're here.
Okay, I'm just having a hard time with my phone. There's a delay. I'm sorry. So, um, so the what uh, you want evidence for a God, right? I mean, for to be God. So, like, and I can't prove. And I heard you ask the guy on the other call, like, can you prove to me that there is a God? And and I would say, no, I can't prove to you that there is a God.
How did you prove it to you then?
I don't. How did I prove it to me? Well, I just, I think the same way that you came to the conclusion that there was not a God.
No. So first of all,
well, I mean, let me. Okay, go ahead.
so hang on. First of all, it may be the case that I haven't come to the conclusion that there isn't a God.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I misspoke. You don't know that there's a God. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you are convinced that the statement "some God exists," you are convinced that that statement is true, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not convinced. And when I ask you to demonstrate that it's true, you say, or you said a minute ago, that you can't do that. And so all I'm asking is, how did you demonstrate to yourself that that statement was true?
Well, I'm very simple-minded, and and I'm not as read up on. So I just think like truth per se, like how can we make any? And this is maybe just a more philosophical answer, but I think at least my worldview allows for it, and you can point out the weakness in my view, which I'm sure you will, but like even making a truth claim, how can you even live through a life where you don't know anything is true?
Okay, so first of all,
we know they had to be okay. Yeah, you just tell me the conversation. I'll end it that way. I'll go better with it that way.
Well, you asked a question. I'm trying to answer it, and more accurately, I'm trying to correct it. I don't live a life where I don't know anything is true. I live a life where there's no certainty, but because my definition of truth is that which comports to reality, the only thing that matters is whether or not something comports to reality. I believe that this package of Ritz crackers, when I let go of it, will drop to my desk. And that's how I demonstrate this thing consistently. When I say you are convinced that some God exists and you can't prove it to me, and then I ask, how did you prove it to yourself? All I'm saying is, what convinces you that the statement "some God exists" is true? Your criteria could be a hot mess. You could have logical fallacies. You could be correct and have really good evidence. I don't know what the case is. All I'm saying is, you're convinced that there's a God. What convinces you?
Well, let's just start from creation, from the beginning. So I just think it makes more sense with the environment and the reality that I'm living in, because I've never seen nothing produce something. So even just the world around me, and the reality that we live in, where everything we see has a creator or a builder or an architect or some kind of intelligent design behind it. I think I'm looking at the same world, and I'm just saying, this great big world that we live in, it seems to me that our present reality, and that we're living in, would seem to point that there had to be an intelligent design. I think faith.
Why?
Our faith, maybe the definition that we have of faith, maybe the same thing.
I doubt it.
Faith is reasoning in action. Like,
no,
I think
that's
I've got
not
good reason.
No, sir. That's not my definition of faith, nor is it a useful definition of faith. My definition of faith is the excuse people give for believing something when they don't have a good reason. Because if you ask why you believe something and you have a good reason,
that's not my.
I don't care.
Just give you my reason. Okay.
No, you said you think we might. You said you think we have the same definition of faith, and we don't.
No, I'm talking about the reason for believing in a creator.
So first, no, hang on. You just raised a thing about faith and its definition. You said that faith is reason in action. I am challenging your definition, Shannon.
Okay, I'm not. Okay, I'm not. I'm not.
Then
being
stop
combative.
interrupting me. I sat here and let you give your definition. I'm saying you said that your definition of faith is reason in action. And I'm saying that's not a definition of faith that I would use. It is not the definition that anybody I know of uses. It is not the definition of faith from the Bible. And it is not an accurate representation of what people mean when they say it's an issue of faith. Generally, when people say they take it on faith, they're saying that they don't have a good reason, that they have to accept this without a good reason, much the same way that you said you can't prove it to me. And so I ask, what proves it to you? Now, what you said when we let you try to explain is look at creation, look at the beginning. It just makes more sense with the environment and such. And you've never seen nothing create something. That is a confused mishmash of things, none of which is evidence for a creator. It's just you basically saying, I've never seen nothing create something, which, by the way, isn't necessarily the case and isn't relevant to whether or not there's a God or which God. Your model, I would presume, I'm presuming that you're a standard Christian of some stripe, correct?
I don't know what you mean by standard. I mean, I'm a Christian.
Do you
You're talking about-
accept the Bible
Yes.
and one of the
Yes, I do.
normative
Yes,
denominations of Christianity?
Yes, sir.
So did God create something out of nothing?
I believe that's my worldview. Yes, sir.
Cool. So you're the one who has the worldview that thinks something was created out of nothing. I don't have that worldview. So it's not the case that, oh my God. Of the two of us, you're the one that has a something from nothing worldview, and yet you're saying you've never seen something come from nothing. First of all, whether or not you've seen it is irrelevant to whether or not it can happen or did happen. Second of all, if your worldview is the one that has something coming from nothing, you're the one that has to demonstrate that. My worldview does not include something coming from nothing, because my worldview doesn't hold that a nothing could exist, because if a nothing exists, then it's a something, it has properties. So when I ask what convinces you that a God exists, it seems that your answer is something had to come from nothing, and I think a God did that.
Okay. Can I respond?
Yes, that's what I'm waiting for.
Okay. I wasn't trying to be combative. I'm honestly just trying to understand, because I've never had a lot of I'm trying to learn and not misrepresent your position. Please don't take offense.
That's all I'm going to do. If you misrepresent my position, I'm going to correct it, and then we can move on. It's clear. I've been doing this for 20 years. You've been doing this for 20 seconds. All I'm trying to do is when I ask, why do you believe, and you give me a reason, I'm going to give what my response is. Right now, you're the only one of the two of us that believes in something from nothing, while simultaneously saying you don't believe in something from nothing because you've never seen it, which is a bad reason. That's like saying, I don't believe there's a black swan because I've never seen one. Well, that's irrelevant to whether or not there is one. So what makes you think that something came from nothing?
Well, from what I understand, if there wasn't intelligent design, if there wasn't a intelligent design in the beginning, and the world didn't come, that seems to be the two main arguments that I know of how the universe.
You're not answering my question.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you ask me again, and I'll try to answer.
Yes. Why do you think that something came from nothing?
Why do I think something came from nothing? Because I look at the evidence that I'm in right now, in the present reality that I'm living in, and I look at what supports my reality, I see a builder builds a building, and you've heard all this stuff before. This is nothing new to you.
Yes, and
And
that is not in
so
any way an answer to the question that I asked you. And I'm going to ask
well,
you
I
for a
think
third. I'm going to ask you for a third time now. Why do you think that something came from nothing?
I don't think something came from nothing.
I asked you before, and you said
I think
that
God created it.
from nothing.
I think God in the beginning created the world that we're living in.
What did he
I
create it
asked you-
from?
I asked you before if God
I have no
created.
idea what He created it from.
I asked you before if God created everything from nothing, and you said yes.
I don't know what was there in the beginning with God.
Then why did you say
just
yes
know-
when I asked you? We've now wasted 5
I-
minutes because you said yes to something, and now you want to say you didn't say it.
I didn't. I apologize if I did. I misspoke. I misanswered your question. I
So-
think God, whatever was in the beginning, what was with God, I don't know how God exactly done what He done, but I think to what I'm seeing and what I'm living in, the reality that I'm in, that is the best explanation that I have for a beginning.
Okay, let me just ignore everything else and just deal with that last sentence. Do you think that at any given moment, that if something is the best explanation you personally can come up with, that it's okay to believe that it's true? Like rational to believe that it's true?
The best statement that the best reason that I have to believe in something, the best statement.
Okay, hang on. Let me try this again, Shannon. Hang on.
Okay.
Let's say we find a dead body, and you look around at the world and the available evidence, and the best explanation you can come up with is that the butler did it. Does that mean that you should believe the butler did it?
No.
Cool. Awesome. Then let's do the same thing. We'll replace universe, or we'll put universe in place of a dead body, and we'll put you laugh it up. We'll put God in place of the butler. And you've just demonstrated that the sentence you said before, that the reason you believe that God did it is because it's the best explanation you have at the time. Well, you've just acknowledged that's not a good enough reason to believe something.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So by your own admission and your own model, you don't have a good reason to believe that God did it.
Okay.
What reason do you have to believe that God is even a candidate explanation? Like, for example, what if it turns out there is no butler?
So then I changed my worldview and I go on to believe in something else.
Yeah,
I
but
guess I would have
the
to
issue
believe
is,
the butler done it, and I'm trying to seek truth. I'm not.
but if you're going to try to seek truth, you need to seek the methods that most consistently produce truth. How is I look around at the world and this is the best explanation I come up with? Is that a reliable path to truth?
Well, I think out of what we have, it's the most. To me, it's the most reliable. As you said, reality.
Am I?
Reality,
How many people are in the room with you right now?
Nobody.
Nobody. Are you the smartest person in the room you're in?
I guess I am.
Yeah. I'm the smartest person in the room that I'm in right now, too. That doesn't tell us at all which of us is smarter. I'm the funniest person in the room that I'm in. And you're probably you're definitely the funniest person in the room you're in, but that doesn't tell us which of us is funnier. So saying that something is the best explanation you have right now doesn't tell us whether or not that's true. That's why science doesn't rely on individuals looking around and operating on a hunch. Science uses methods so that there's independent verification and testing and the ability to reproduce results and to falsify results. That's why scientists don't just publish papers where they say, well, based on what I saw when I looked around, the butler did it.
Matt, if you can find, I'm willing to go anywhere the science leads. And when the science says X, Y, and Z, I will take that and believe it. But you know as well as I do that there's Christian-based scientists and there's theist scientists, and they're all having the same arguments that we've all had. And
no,
you're
see what you've done. What you've done here, Shannon. Shannon, what you're trying to do right now is shift the burden of proof. You're willing to. You're saying that you're willing to. Yes, you are, Shannon, because you're saying that you'll stop believing in God when science proves there isn't a God.
When they give me a better explanation than the one I have now.
You don't have a good enough explanation now. No, sir. You're not being rational. You do not get to say that you're being rational. Laugh it up. Laugh all you want. You're sitting there in fear and irrationality. And you're saying, I'm not going to change my mind until you prove that I'm wrong. That's not the way this works. You shouldn't hold your position until you can prove you're right.
Shannon, what's the mass of the Shannon, without Googling, what's the mass of the Higgs boson?
Oh, God.
No, just let me do this. Shannon, without Googling, what is the mass of the Higgs boson?
I don't know. I have no idea.
It's 42 pounds.
Okay.
Do you believe me?
I don't know. Should I believe you?
No. You should go get proof because it's not 42 pounds. It's the smallest particle that we can measure. And this is the entire thing you've just done. You said you didn't know an answer to a question, what the mass of the Higgs boson was. So I made up an answer. And by your logic that you just ran through, it would be better for all of us who don't know what it is to accept my answer of 42 pounds, which is impossible. It'd be better for us to accept that than just sit in the reality that we don't know something, or we actually go try and find out what the mass of the Higgs boson is.
All I'm simply saying is, for what I know, is
all you're simply saying is I'm not listening, because this has already been explained to you so many different ways. I'm not mad. I'll cut you off all I want. I just listen to the
whine and cry in addition to this, because I've had about enough. I've tried to laugh it up. See, this proves that you are dishonest, that you don't care about the truth. Because if you actually cared about the truth, which is why you called in, then you would be acknowledging that I'm here acknowledging how to find the truth, and you're laughing.
Shannon hung up.
Your position is you can't prove God and I can't prove there is no God. I don't need to prove there is no God. The burden of proof is on the people who claim there is a God. You don't understand the basics of the burden of proof. And until you understand the basics of the burden of proof, you don't get to claim that you care about truth. Go ahead, hang up, run away.
Good luck, by the way. Go and defend that the Higgs boson is 42 pounds.
People. Unbelievable. I just want to know what the truth is. I just care about truth. I want to find the truth. Cool. How do you tell the difference between, hey, there's a God and there's not a God? I don't know. I just look around at the world and this makes more sense. And I'll go wherever the science leads. Yes, but if you propose a solution that science cannot confirm and science cannot disconfirm, if your proposed solution is unfalsifiable, which means that it is incapable of being proven false, then congratulations. You will sit there in your supreme lack of confidence, and nobody will ever prove you false, and you will still never be right, and you will still not have the truth. You can think the butler did it until your dying day, but you haven't even shown that there was a butler that existed at all.
Yeah. Goodness sakes. Hello, I'm Jimmy Snow, Pokemon Master and executive producer on The Line. Would you like to support a specific show on The Line or The Line in general? There are special tiers on our Patreon and in our channel memberships. You can do just that. By the way, you could consider leaving a super thanks down below. You could also like, subscribe, and leave a regular comment. All of these are great. Now, I'm going to get back to crushing loneliness, but while I do that, why don't you check out one of these?